Droids in the Star Wars universe have always been a staple of the galaxy, seeing their full might and potential being unleashed in the Clone Wars. But in this video, we're going to be taking a look at Imperial Droids. And of course, the Empire isn't exactly known for its droids, more its stormtroopers, star destroyers, and the Death Star, but there were a number of droids that were being used by the Galactic Empire. There is a reason why we don't see many droids being employed by the Empire, and that's because after the Clone Wars, the creation of battle droids were outlawed by the Imperial Senate following the devastation of the Clone Wars. But droids were of course still in use all over the galaxy, but for the Empire's needs they would have to be reclassified as security droids, not battle droids. And overall, the Empire wanted humans and other species conscripted into the Empire to maintain peace and order within the galaxy, but their new security droids also played a part in that. We are all familiar with Imperial probe droids, used by the Empire for deep space exploration and reconnaissance. They were tenacious hunters and searchers. Typically they would scan remote planets in search of rebel activity, relaying information back to the nearest Star Destroyer. And if these were destroyed by blaster fire, it typically meant rebels or hostiles to the Empire were close by, and allowed the Empire to expand their reach without the presence of stormtroopers. They were overall very expendable droids, but they served their purpose. And the upgraded probe droid was the Viper probe droid model, and unlike the previous probe droid, these typically came armed with small blasters, and they were used as a first line of defense and surveying for sensitive Imperial locations, and a number of them could be deployed to swarm any hostile enemies, possibly removing any threat without the need of stormtroopers. There was also the ID-9 Seeker droid, which has been seen with Inquisitors, acting as a probe droid but also deadly when used for nefarious purposes. They could hover and crawl on their pincers, intimidate other droids, and were outfitted with electroshock prongs that could incapacitate mechanical beings or harm organic lifeforms, and were overall a use of torture for the ID-9 Seeker droid. And one of the more recent Imperial droids we get to see is the KX-series security droids, or K2SO. They were much more of a threat than probe droids, and typically accompanied by a group of stormtroopers, as these were security droids, and they were designed to neutralize threats with lethal or non-lethal tactics. Built to be tall and strong, they were programmed without the standard restrictions against harming organic sentient lifeforms. If you were designated a threat to the Empire in any way determined by the droid or its commanders, the droid would follow its protocol to neutralize the threat. And while they didn't have blasters built into them, they had no problem being given blasters for lethal force, and they also had electro batons for crowd control. And on planets that were uninhabitable for humans, KX droids were sent in, typically working hand in hand with probe droids. They were equipped with built-in comm packages, a recharge port, and a computer interface arm that allowed them to connect with standard communication frequencies for the areas that they were assigned. They could speak Galactic Basic, but didn't have a wide array of languages and utility like Protocol Droid, but they could handle a wide range of tasks, including escorting dignitaries, protecting important people, and defending Imperial installations. And pound for pound, they were probably better than Imperial stormtroopers in combat. Overall, these were some of the finest droids produced by the Empire. Teetering the line of a security droid, the EXD Infiltrator droid was a model of recon droid used by the Galactic Empire, designed to search and infiltrate rebel bases. And this model of droid was purposely made to resemble an RQ series protocol droid to blend in, but when in attack mode, the droid extended its limbs, torso, and head, revealing built-in blasters and a powerful pincer-style hand. Infiltrator droids were capable of weathering extensive damage in combat and possessed considerable strength and could leap great heights. The droids were fitted with a proton warhead that would self-destruct if the unit was compromised as well, most likely to hide the fact that the EXD Infiltrator droid even existed. They were programmed without any personality and were just programmed to complete their missions. In my opinion, if these weren't undercover recon droids by design, they would make excellent battle droids. These next couple droids were kept secret even by the majority of the Empire. The DT-series sentry droid, or Imperial sentry droid, was used during the Clone Wars in Camino training facilities for clone trooper training to fight the battle droids of the CIS, and the Empire saw the usefulness of these droids, employing them as security droids for top secret locations across the galaxy, and they were definitely more of a battle droid than others, equipped with twin blaster cannons on each arms, and they also had training with electro staffs, and because of that they were used by Sith and Inquisitors for lightsaber training. and they were also sent across the galaxy to assist Inquisitors when hunting the Jedi. They also had elite battle tactics programmed into them from the Clone Wars. Many of them were also modified with different weapons to defeat the Jedi, like Gatling guns and rocket launchers. Think of the DT-series droids as a more weaponized and intimidating version of the KX security droid. They were also the precursors to the Dark Troopers. Originally designed to be suits worn by elite troopers, the Empire saw that the human pilot was the last weakness in the Dark Trooper design, transforming the third generation units into battle droids. Now, by this time, the Empire was defeated and only Imperial remnants remained. I assume the Imperial remnants didn't care about past legislation of banning battle droids at this time, and it's unknown how many policies the New Republic grandfathered in from the Empire, so battle droids were back in production. Dark Troopers were equipped with 2 rocket boosters on each foot, being able to fly, and they were also equipped with blaster rifles that they could aim with precision accuracy. The droids had heat-resistant and blaster-resistant armor and utilized extreme strength, and because of their strength and armor, many of them didn't have blasters and simply overwhelmed their enemies with their strength. Their only weakness is that they were slow. Overall, Dark Troopers were the final and best version of droids made by the Empire. Imperial droids could more or less be classified into 2 types, security droids and service droids. Now, the security droids were just as followed: probe droids, KX series, the EXD Infiltrator, DT Sentry, and Dark Troopers. And these droids could assist in combat missions and the overall security of the Empire. But the Empire also employed a number of service droids. Mouse droids are probably one of the most famous. The MSE-series droid was often used for delivery and maintenance purposes, and they served as quick alarms when they thought something was off. Gonk droids were also maintenance droids, mostly for other droids in simple ship repairs, but they also served as ammunition droids to dispense ammo to stormtroopers. And protocol droids like the RA-7 protocol droid and the autonomous translator module were used for logistics of the Empire and translations for other species. Medical droids were also used by the Galactic Empire. The 2-1B series medical droid was used for routine checkups, surgeries, and overall acted as doctors for the Empire. Another medical droid used by the Empire was the FX-6 medical droid, which we can see assisting Darth Vader in his transformation. Members of the R-series astromech droids were also common for ship maintenance and repairs. However, they were typically assisted by Imperial mechanics doing most of the work. Astromech droids for the Empire acted more as databases for ship repairs and advice for mechanics. And only seen in early stages of the Empire, the K9X1 droids were used on Tantus for the upkeep of Lurka hounds. They followed precise programming to feed the beasts and terminate the animals when they were too sick or injured to continue regular patrols. They were also seen using electrostaffs to keep the hounds in line. However, these were also most likely used on other planets when the Empire used beasts at their disposal. The Empire relied more on its human conscripts for service and maintenance across the board for the upkeep of Galactic Empire machinery, but droids played their part as being an extension of the Empire's tools, not relying on droids to keep the Empire running. The Empire also contracted numerous droids across the planet through guilds and mining colonies. Smelter droids, loader droids, mining droids, and police droids can be seen, all working directly or indirectly for the Empire. And then there were interrogation droids, used to extract and torture rebels for information and turn Jedi into Inquisitors. 000 was a protocol droid that specialized in the etiquette, customs, and translations of torture. Interrogation droids were designed to coax sensitive information out of an individual by inflicting extreme pain upon them. Some models of the interrogation droids included the IT-0 interrogation unit and MyProbe droids to torture their victims. Besides tormenting rebels and members of the Jedi Alliance, they also tormented other droids, and all interrogation droids had sadistic programming, seemingly enjoying the suffering of the pain they caused to others. Ultimately, after the Clone Wars, droid technology went into a dark age. Many droid manufacturers for the war and civilian use were shut down at the end of the Clone Wars. The Techno Union, the Backoid Combat Automata, and the Colicoid Creation Nest were all part of the Separatist Alliance and killed off by Palpatine, Vader, and the Empire as being a potential threat to the galaxy. So who built the Empire's droids? Droid manufacturers for the Empire included Ackroyd Industries, which built the KX-series droid and probe droids, and the DT-series droids were some of the last droids made by the Badcoid Combat Automata. However, I do not know if they were made before or after the end of the Clone Wars, and DT-series droids were kinda left over from the Clone Wars. All droid manufacturers for the Empire security droids had to be developed hand in hand with the Imperial Department of Military Research, like the EXD Infiltrator droid. If you wanted to make droids for the Empire, you were completely reliant on the Empire's technologies and scientists making what they demanded, causing very little innovation from droid manufacturers during the reign of the Empire. Service droids like Protocol droids and astromechs were more or less being produced by the Cybod Galactica, not making any real threats to the Empire, only assisting them and the citizens of the galaxy. Starship manufacturers also made some service droids as side contracts for the Empire, and many droids for specialized use like mining and labor droids were independently made by the guilds that employed them. More or less after the Clone Wars, the Empire shut down any innovation potential for droids within the galaxy. So with that, those are droids that were used by the Galactic Empire. Please feel free to comment down below if I missed any droids, and until next video, goodbye.